Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Alberta News and Views. Today, there was a standing committee on access to information privacy and ethics. Now, what I'm going to show you is a clip with Larry Brock questioning the RCMP commissioner about SNC LAVALIN and why he did not investigate Justin Trudeau, and how it is no surprise that Canadians think there is a two-tier justice system. Justice, it seems, does not touch Justin Trudeau, but everybody else. I think what I'm going to do, like, this whole committee is just very interesting, and it lets you know the state that Canada is in. And what I mean is the RCMP commissioner says himself, there is a misunderstanding with ethics and criminality, I guess, breaking the law. He said, if we don't have the proper evidence or information, then we can't go into criminal charges. And then ethics violations is completely different. That doesn't mean you're a criminal. Larry Brock goes on to say, well, that is the problem then. And you can see where Canadians are coming from. If Justin Trudeau does not let you see the information because of Privy Council privileges, well, then you can't do a criminal investigation about him or on him. And that is why there is never any justice in Canada, because this government is lawless, literally. They make the laws, they make the definitions, they make the criminal code so they can do whatever they want. I think what I'm going to do is take all of the Larry Brock out of this and put it on Substack. It is quite long, so you'll get it as an email, so then I don't feel bad for not doing it, because I feel I need to do my part. And that's what I'm going to do, because this is very, very interesting. Larry Brock is so good at his job, and we are lucky to have him as a parliamentarian in committee and in government. There is a big difference when Larry Brock sits you down and questions you versus anybody else in government right now when they sit down and question you. You can tell there is 30 years experience behind those eyeballs. Watch this.
Let's go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chair, and good morning, Commissioner. Good morning, Sergeant. Thank you for your attendance. I hope your attendance today is fulsome, that we get through the full committee without receiving a notice of motion to adjourn. At the heart of the SNC LAVALIN scandal, there were a number of players within the PMO, the PCO, and the Ministry of Finance. However, the principal person of interest in the SNC scandal was at all material times the Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau. To you, Commissioner, the scandal is now over 5 years old. When did the RCMP interview Justin Trudeau?
I'll let Mr. Pain-Saints further discuss about the interviews, but it is 5 years old, and the matter was brought to our attention in 2019 and officially concluded in January 2023, in which we notified Madame Wilson-Raybould as well as Mr. Scheer, who had written a letter to the Commissioner Lucky at the time.
Thank you, Commissioner. The question was very specific. How many times in the last 5 years did you interview Justin Trudeau?
He was not interviewed, sir, or Mr. President.
Okay, and why not?
I'll ask Mr. Pain-Saints, who was leading the investigation, to add a little bit.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. So, in relation to this, what the RCMP conducted as far as for the objective for the review of the matter, what we've done is we've proceeded with a phased approach, which initially we looked at the potential witnesses that could provide some information as far as to precision for the elements of the offense. So we proceeded in this phase approach. As we proceeded, we determined if there was any further investigative steps that
Sergeant,
were warranted given the
Sergeant,
circumstances of the case.
My time is very limited. Why did you not interview the primary person of interest? At the heart of this investigation was Justin Trudeau's political interference for his own personal gain and the gain of SNC LAVALIN. I can inform both of you, gentlemen, that in my over 30 years of experience as a defense counsel and as a Crown attorney, I have never heard of any investigation where there wasn't any attempt, whether they agreed to interview or not, any attempt to interview the person of interest. Was there at least an attempt to interview Justin Trudeau, yes or no?
No.
Incredible.
Did the RCMP obtain all relevant documents to further the investigation, including access to cabinet confidential information, simply seeking a yes or no response?
We were limited with the information that we had access to.
Was that a yes or a no, sir?
I don't know. We didn't know. We don't know. We still don't know to this day all the information that's out there
Thank
because
you.
some was protected.
I'll take that as a no. Despite collecting reams of evidence, including evidence from the Ethics Commissioner and testimony from Jody Wilson-Raybould at committee, why didn't the RCMP exercise its absolute statutory right under the Criminal Code of Canada to obtain a production order and/or search warrant from a justice to obtain those cabinet documents?
We weren't able to acquire or obtain enough information or evidence that would warrant us to obtain a production order.
RCMP spokesperson Christy Veenstra is on record stating that to obtain a search warrant or production order, there must be reasonable grounds to believe that a criminal offense has been committed. The evidence at hand is sufficient to convince a trier of fact. The evidence at hand is insufficient to convince a trier of fact of the alleged offense. Clearly, she is conflating the legal threshold of policing with the Crown Prosecution Service. Both of you, sirs, will agree that your sole responsibility is to determine whether there are reasonable and probable grounds to lay a charge. It is not your mandate to prove the charge beyond a reasonable doubt, which is the independent prosecution service. Would you agree with that?
I agree, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Was obstruction of justice involving Justin Trudeau the only offense you were contemplating in this regard?
No, there's also intimidation of a justice participant.
Thank you. You would agree that the charge of obstruction is a straight indictable offense, meaning there is no limitation period, punishable by 10 years in prison, a very serious offense. You'd agree, sirs, that there is nothing precluding your service from reopening the investigation against Justin Trudeau should new evidence become available, including a release of cabinet confidential information.
I would say, Mr. Chair, with any investigation, when there's new information that arises, yes, we have a look at the investigation itself.
To quell public concern, Justin Trudeau, despite his office, is subject to the full impact and consequences of the Criminal Code of Canada. He is not above the law, correct?
I do believe I said that last time I was in front of the committee. No one's above the law.
In my experience, sirs, homicides have been investigated and prosecuted in lesser time than your service has invested in investigating Justin Trudeau. Is there an overall general reluctance in charging a sitting Prime Minister, yes or no?
I would say to that, Mr. Chair, is that we follow the evidence, and if the evidence warrants charges, we charge.
So there's no general reluctance in charging a sitting Prime Minister. Is that correct?
If the appropriate evidence is available.
Thank you. You would agree that the purpose behind the offense of obstruction of justice is to maintain the integrity of the justice system and upholding the rule of law, that all the principles that were articulated in Jody Wilson-Raybould's testimony in warding off Justin Trudeau's relentless campaign of pressure and intimidation. You'll agree with me, Commissioner, the evidence is clear. This is not a one-off. Over the course of 4 months...
Sorry, Mr. Brock, but we're over time here.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
It truly is incredible. It seems like the RCMP was trying harder to not find evidence so they didn't have to investigate him versus vice versa, doing it the opposite, actually getting in there and grilling to try and find evidence of criminality. And you can tell that their hands are tied when it comes to top tier government because they make the laws. And if they don't like the law, then they'll change it. Having said that, how does that make you feel with this new online harms bill that is going to get rammed through, knowing that they will decide what hate speech is, what the definition of hate is in Canada? This is probably what will force Justin Trudeau to call an election. SNC happened years ago. ArriveScan is coming on years now. These are going to plague Justin Trudeau for probably at least 5 years into the future. It's just going to be constant now of that common sense criminality is what I should call it. We all know he's guilty, but obviously the RCMP think otherwise. They're saying we can't do anything. There's a big difference between being a criminal and just breaking ethics laws, right? Which is why Justin Trudeau keeps on breaking them, because he gets away with it, right? All of them, not just him, all of them, all these politicians. It is unbelievable, though, that this is where we are at. And, you know, kudos to the best prime minister, or the best premier in Canada, Danielle Smith, for calling out Trudeau and saying, call an election, clear the air. You want to implement all of these things, it's going to be really hard unless you call an election. So just do it. And then if you get all those votes, then it'll be a breeze. Then I'll step back and let you do all of your things. But right now, we all know he's guilty, unethical, breaking laws, does not care about Canada. People literally, the campaign slogan of the Conservatives. We just can't afford 8 more years or whatever, however many more years of Justin Trudeau. We really can't. Our systems are absolutely crumbling under the weight of this corruption. Follow me on Substack and Spotify. Like I said, this is really good, and I feel I wouldn't be doing you guys any justice if I didn't take all of Larry Brock, put it all together, and then I'll just email it to you and send it out that way. It's just incredible. Like, share, and all of you, take care.